yoga.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Um,
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Dauphin County Board of Commissioners Legislative Meeting for Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 to action. I will start by a moment of silence followed by a pledge of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just as a reminder, today's meeting is being live streamed. So first time we're aware, it's also our legislative meeting. We good? I guess your mic needs to be on to be heard on live stream. But just so you know, those comments will be live streamed. And today is a legislative meeting, which is the day that we normally take action on a number of agenda items. So the first order of business today is the approval of minutes for the November 20th, 2024 workshop meeting and the November 27th, 2024 legislative meeting. Is there a motion to adopt those meeting minutes?
All motion.
Motion by Commissioner Prees.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Douglas. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Next up is the November 27th, 2024 Salary Board meeting, and the Salary Board consists of the three commissioners, the controller, and the potential of an elected row officer or the president judge in matters that are overseen by the courts. In this case, we have four members here. I entertain a motion for the Salary Board meeting minutes from November 27th.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Controller Bateman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Douglas. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. The ayes have it. Executive sessions held between meetings, Mr. Pease.
Good morning, Commissioners. On December 10th, the Commissioners held an executive session to obtain the advice of legal counsel regarding consideration on the purchase, sale, and lease of real property, collective bargaining agreements, pending litigation, matters of public safety, election matters, county contractors, and matters of personnel. In addition to the Solicitor's Office, John Bailey and Todd Johnson from the Great American Outdoor Show and District Attorney Fran Chardo were present to discuss matters of public safety. District Attorney Fran Chardo and Robert Evans, Acting IT Director, were present to discuss county contractors. And Robert Morgan, Deputy Director of HR, and Adam Santucci, Labor Counsel for the county from McNeese Wallace Nurek, were both present to discuss matters of collective bargaining agreements, pending litigation, and personnel.
Any questions for Mr. Pease? All right, hearing none, this is our first opportunity for public participation on agenda items only. And I think there, again, we've made sure we got this correct. We also have a chance for public participation on agenda items under 3 and election board. So this would be primarily for the agenda from the county's perspective today for the legislative agenda. Is there any items for public participation that anybody wishes to comment on? All right, hearing none, I'd like to call to order. Was there somebody? Okay. All right. So I'd like to call to order the election board meeting today and start by the approval of minutes of the November 20th, 2024 election board. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Prees.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Douglas. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Okay, now is the time for public participation related to agenda items. Today, we are addressing the recommendation of examining the polling places and a potential change from Friendship Engine House to Tri-Community Elementary School. And we are also going to be in a election board meeting. So any election related matters that are on the agenda, you need to specifically be related to the matter in front of us. There will be an opportunity for public participation at the end if there's other related matters. And we are giving 3 minutes today for the discussion, and we are going to be strict on that time frame. And the other piece, I just want to set a tone. I know we've had a discussion about this before. We will obviously be respectful with all of our comments. If we get to a position where it degrades at any level, we will be gaveling you out of order and asking for you to collect yourself and come back in and have a discussion. So please proceed. And please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Deborah Knowles. I'm from 6080 Hawker Drive.
Could you speak up a little bit, ma'am?
My name is Deborah Knowles.
Yep.
I'm at 6080 Hawker Drive, Harrisburg, PA.
Go ahead.
I'm here again to speak on behalf of the Oberlin, Enhot, and Bressler residents who use the Bressler Firehouse as a boating location twice a year. My 83-year-old mother and newly registered boating sister included. I know that Tom Conley has continuously ranted and raved, demanding that you close down this location because of the Bressler fireman's allegations that more than 6 months ago are still unproven, awaiting the Attorney General's finish and public investigation. There is no good reason why Tom or Shane Steele are doing this. It's not about the firemen, since they've already disbanded the fire service more than 6 months ago, removing all fire trucks. As far as we know, there are no issues with the building or lot needing any kind of repairs. And our little community uses this building for birthday, wedding, anniversary, and other celebrations. There are no issues with the people working at the polling stations mistreating anyone. So why? What does this get them? They can't have the building since it's not owned by the Township Fire Service. So it looks like they're just targeting the already devastated residents who lost their neighborhood fire company that responded to their fires more quickly. Now they have to make another change because of Tom and Shane? What more do they want to take away from these good, quiet people? My grandparents, Mary and William Kostelak, if still alive, would be standing right here with me, fighting to keep their polling station open. Many of these proud people have voted here most of their lives. They enjoy the walk or short ride to the neighborhood polling place. My mom and my sister enjoy visiting with their Bressler neighbors there. She says they always make her feel happy and she doesn't want to go anywhere else, even if it is blocks away. You know many of these people personally. They have not asked much of you all through the years, only that you be fair and just and do the best job you can. So we are here today to ask you to champion our cause and keep the voting location open as we continuously champion your cause and vote you in time after time. Not just because you're part of our community, but because you do a good job for our community. In closing, vote no against closing them. And please ignore Mr. Conley and Mr. Steele's allegations of you not being transparent when it is they that are very guilty of this accusation. If we residents had problems with you not being transparent, we would be here like we are at the Swadire Township Commissioners meetings, demanding that you be transparent. We know that they're trying to bully you to get you to do what they want. Don't give in, and please continue doing the job the way that you always have been. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? On the agenda items only. Any other comments?
For the election board.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
It's complicated. Hi, Ona Osai. I live in Swatara Township. On the agenda today is a polling place change. It is not a polling place closure. And it is proposed to move from the current firehouse, which is currently closed by the township, voted to close it based on allegations that the Attorney General is investigating. And it's proposed to move to Tri-Community Elementary School, which is a fabulous location right up the street from me, from the firehouse. Everybody in the community knows it. It's a school. It's very accessible and able to be used. I understand that some people walk around in this world and may not understand how someone might feel trying to go vote in a place that is under investigation and has these allegations. For some of us, it's a little bit different. And we might not tell you or like show you the intimidation that we feel going to a place like that. But it can be real, right? And I think it is important to note that a place that has not been accused of any racial or any other motivated things is Tri-Community Elementary School, and it's right down the street. And I think it's a very simple decision that this board can make. And if at some time, we find all these allegations are untrue and the county wants to spend extra money to go to that firehouse, I think you'd be well within your means to revisit it. But for now, I think it is very important that we move the voting place to the proposed tri-community elementary school. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Pamela Parson, City of Harrisburg. As a longtime resident of Dauphin County, actually lifelong resident, except when I was in college and in working and then working out of state, I have always lived here. And it is my understanding, and please correct me if I am wrong, that the county does give some payment to the venues that who host voting. And as a taxpayer, I do not like the idea of my tax dollars going to a venue with these type of allegations. And I have lived here long enough to have heard these allegations for a very long time before this investigation began. And so, any hint of racism, overt or covert, for me, is a no-go in terms of putting our money there. So I support this move and I urge you to do so also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
My name is Kathy Siebert Malatestinick, and I live at 695 High Street, Bressler, PA. And I've been there for over 40 years as a married woman. And I was born in Philly, brought here by my dad when I was 7 months old. So I consider myself a longtime resident of Dauphin County. And I don't mind where my taxpayer dollars are going if they're going to help a community. I have been a 8-year public poll worker at the Friendship Fire Company engine house, as they're calling it. It is the Bressler Firehouse. And there is no problem. There is no handicap probability there. It is handicapped accessible. If you can't get in the front door, you can come in through the bay and come into the room that way. There's parking behind the building, alongside the building, and people don't really need to park too much because they walk there. And if they have to move to tri-community, they're going to have to park in the lower lot. They're going to have to walk further than what they're walking right now at Bressler. And when we were at a meeting several months ago, you had made the decision that we would be voting at the Friendship Fire Company. So why is this being brought up again? That is one of my biggest questions. Why are we being attacked that we can't use our own fire company to vote? That's it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Tom Connolly, 345 North Harrisburg Street, Sweater Township. I appreciate you having this hearing today, this forum for people to discuss this issue. And I'm also grateful to see in the community that the number of people that are on the other side from me has greatly declined. There was a lot of confusion at the beginning. People thought it had something to do with a a fire company, color of fire trucks, who lives close to what. Ultimately, the bottom line is that the group that you would be doing business with had and continued a racial discrimination policy into 2024. I don't know when it started. Probably some of these people don't know when it started. They know it went on, but they don't know when it started. Since we've talked last, a person employed by the group that you would consider doing business with has been arrested for stealing 191 times. I would like to be able to know where any money you pay has gone. If you verified, if you've not been a victim of theft, if people that rented the grounds for picnics have not been a victim of theft. 191 thefts is a lot. I'm not sure exactly where the money came from, but I will say this. In the report that you were given in early May, the one sentence that stands out, and I feel this way too, the first word, unfortunately, because this isn't something you want to be talking about in 2024. But it says, unfortunately, the information leads us to believe the allegations are founded and that discrimination practices at the Bressler Fire Company and the Bressler Fire Club are likely to be taking place with regard to membership and rental practices. And I will point out to you that the facility that you have contracted with was the light in the darkness for minorities. They weren't allowed to have their family events, their repast, their parties, their graduations at the Bressler Fire Company Club, but they were always allowed to have that third tier lower rental. So I think Deborah Knowles was accurate. There is discrimination in the rental practice, but the thing they did for the community was give them that place with no parking that didn't have the same facilities as the other place. Most of the people here wouldn't rent that facility. I'd be surprised if they do. They would have access to the club. I'm going to end it there saying, I think it's ridiculous that we're having a conversation about you doing business with a place that discriminates and has discriminated racially. The word unfounded was thrown out, I think, by Mike Tuckey, who's here. Hopefully he'll come up and say something next. You can really evaluate what he has to say. But he's on the Board of Commissioners in Swatter Township, and he did not vote against taking that club out of service. He abstained. Abstaining is easy. Taking hard action is the right thing to do, and I expect you to do it. And it's almost embarrassing that we're even here talking about this in 2024. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I do have prepared notes, so I would hope that you at least let me get through that if I'm not a slow reader. My name is Joanne Siebert. I live at 799 High Street in Bressler. I'm here to encourage the commissioners to deny the request made by the Democratic commissioners of Swatter Township to move the voting location of Precinct 1. At the first meeting I ever attended here, the chairman made a point that we must stay on topic and not bring up any personal attacks. Well, that doesn't seem to be the issue anymore because you have allowed Mr. Conley on several meetings, and especially at the last meeting, to attack a person and his family publicly, and had nothing to do with the topic of Precinct 1's polling location. I listened to him rant many meetings. He spoke adamantly about not giving the Dauphin County money to the Bressler Fire Company. He claims that he was told by people that they have been discriminated against at the polling place. Has he given you the names of these people, or are you just taking his word? Well, don't. He claims he gave you the report that was used to shut down the fire station. He also stated that there was testimonies of 33 people. I filed the right to know request to get that documentation of those claims. When denied, I appealed it to the Pennsylvania Office of Open Records, who felt my request was founded. Both requests then were denied because Swatter claimed that there is no such documentation. So he is either lying to you or to me. He was worried about giving monies to the Bressler Fire Company. I called the Bureau of Registration and Election, and they told me that they give each polling place $75. Is this about $75? don't kid yourself. It's not about $75. It's about their total dislike for Bressler. It is not about the claim of discrimination because Mr. Kent Conley himself brags about his involvement with the Athletic Association in his past and was quite happy to use the ball field at Bressler. Where were his concerns then? He told you in the past meeting that Bressler has been racist and discriminatory for the past 104 years. If just seems to be the words now that we use, buzzwords, racist and discriminatory, in order to destroy reputations. If you disagree with those claims, then you're accused of being a racist and discriminatory. Don't be a part of this scam. There have been no complaints about the polling location or the workers on election day. The only complaint you heard was from one of the other commissioners who sent you an email, and he submitted it himself, and he votes on the opposite side of the township. The Bressler Fire Company has been an important part of this town and surrounding communities, from purchasing and maintaining their own fire apparatus.
Ma'am,
And-
that's, I apologize. You got to wrap it up. We're going to keep it to the 33 minutes. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd be a taxpayer.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Beth Hicks. I live at 531 Monroe Street in Bressler. I'm here as a private citizen. My name is Beth Hicks. I live at 531 Monroe Street in Bressler. I'm here as a private citizen. And I'm here to say that I have personally experienced the racism at the Bressler Club. I was one of the individuals named in the Attorney General's report. They are not allegations. They are true, and it happens.
Thank you. Thanks, Beth. Any other public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Tucky, 5875 Against Lane, Harrisburg, PA. Tom Conley brought my name up earlier. I believe you should be innocent until proven guilty, regardless if that's in an individual or a group. We're still in the United States of America. That's what should be happening. We were not given complete information through the board to do the actions that has been done through our township board of commissioners. I truly believe everyone should be able to have the chance to prove their innocence. I believe that I'm not taking anything away from what anyone has said today. If anyone has done anything wrong, that person or people should be held accountable. But it seems to me that the cart's before the horse, basically. I mean, with what's been going on in our township personally, with how I've seen our meetings being conducted, how things have been pushed forward almost like it's an agenda, instead of having AGs be able to do their complete investigation. Unfortunately, our board made steps way ahead of where I believe we should have been. You should be able to have the AG's office do their complete investigation before you make rash decisions. And look, I stated plainly, very clearly for months now, if anyone did anything that they should not have been doing, they should be held 100% accountable. But I don't believe in attacking individuals or a group of people without having total information. So I appreciate your time. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you. Any other public comment? You cannot, one time. Any other public comment? Hearing none, Mr. Spackman, if you can come forward.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
For you today is a proposed polling place change effective for the May 2025 municipal primary, if changed. All necessary notifications for the proposed polling place for Swadero Township's first precinct have been completed. This includes postings throughout the district at the current polling place, the proposed location, and 5 additional throughout the district. Additionally, a letter was dropped off at the fire company along with a letter that was mailed to them. The current location is the Friendship Engine House at 625 Main Street, and the proposed location is Tri-Community Elementary School at 255 Cypress Street. If approved by the board, the Bureau will be issuing new voter ID cards to all voters to notify them of the polling place change, and they will also receive postcard requirement 2 weeks prior to the primary. And then I would also notify the state legislators, municipal officials, judges of election, and party chairs via letters. Additionally, I forwarded to you all emails that I had received communication from voters in the district. There was 6 of those emails. Happy to read them if you would like me to.
I think just submitting them for the record would be appropriate. Again, what were the nature of the responses?
Absolutely. So
Summarize.
yeah, absolutely. So each were all in favor of not moving on place. So asking to not move.
Have we received, again, any resident or constituent concerns outside of that correspondence related to this matter?
We have not.
Was there any issues? I mean, I know I even went by the polling place on election day. Was there any issues outwardly or inwardly that were reported or raised as a legitimate concern? Was there any intimidation, harassment? And I understand there's other issues that can happen than direct. There's overt issues, but ultimately, were there direct ways that folks have felt that they were not received or treated?
There was nothing that was brought to my attention.
And again, in the years that we've had this as a polling place, were there lodged complaints?
None that I'm aware of.
And then I think we heard today, was there, how much do we pay a polling place?
So-
Because I've heard it range with people and
Mhm.
discussions. Just put it on the record.
Yeah, there are some exceptions, but generally, and it's specifically for this whatever one, we pay $75 per election, so 150 total for the year, assuming that there's no special elections.
And really reiterate the Department of State's directive, related to moving towards schools.
Mhm.
And again, we're going to have some discussion about this, but I believe there is real direction. And if we're going to make this effort, I think we should do it in response to the Department of State guidance if we are going to make any kind of change, because we don't have really documentation from an election process from which we should act. But do we have, could you sort of clue us in on the guidance related to the Department of State and the attempt to move polling places throughout the Commonwealth into school locations?
Certainly, generally speaking, when it comes to using schools as a polling places, it's definitely a positive. The schools are in the election code as one of the types of facilities that shall be required to serve as a polling place. Certainly, generally speaking, they are tend to be essentially located. They're a known location. They have plenty of facilities, and they're easily manageable to utilize as a polling place.
So I guess, the change occurs. Will this be sort of a position of the board to make active movement to schooling locations as suggested by the Department of State throughout the county, where in fact possible, and to conduct a study of where those needs are and where possibly we can make those moves based upon the best utilization, move those forward for our consideration.
Yeah, I certainly can look into that for the board. Absolutely.
I'll have another couple comments, but Commissioner Douglas, you have comments?
Well, I just want to say for the record, I understand no one in favor of moving the polling place has contacted your office,
Mhm.
but the commissioners have received correspondence related to support for moving the polling place. Have we ever had an issue where theft has taken place at a particular place in which we have a polling place that we've chosen to deaffiliate due to concerns of theft or criminal activity? To your knowledge.
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay. Does the election code or the Department of State direct us to show preference to the use of schools?
I'd have to look into that.
I believe
specifically,
it does.
But
I
yeah,
believe it does.
yeah.
Because I believe last time when we were at this
Mhm.
intersection, that was
Mhm.
a point that our solicitor made
Right.
from
right.
the election code, or maybe it was from the Department of State's
Mhm.
guidance.
Right.
Do you have any idea? We're in a number of schools across
Yeah,
the county,
I
right?
don't have the number for you
Yeah,
now.
but we're in
yeah,
a number of schools currently.
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
That's the extent of my questions.
I want to say thank you to the residents within Dauphin County who came forward today and provided their testimony and their comments, and the elected officials as well. Just a couple comments or questions that I have. Schools are listed as a preferred
Mhm.
voting location in Dauphin County. Are there any issues with ADA at either the current location or the proposed location?
Both locations would require temporary measures to make them ADA accessible. But the current location, as well as those locations, absolutely both utilizing temporary measures would be fully accessible on election.
The 6 emails that you received in favor of retaining the current location, you have the date on when you received them.
They were all within past several. There's one this morning, and then two this morning, 4 last night, 4 yesterday.
So within the last 24 hours, we've received a push of 6 individuals providing emails requesting us to retain the location. How long ago did we publicly announce that this proposal's taking place?
The public notices were posted December 3rd.
December 3rd. Okay. I have a question for the solicitor. We've heard about the Attorney General's investigation. Do you have any updates on the Attorney General's investigation, whether that is still ongoing or whether it's completed?
I do, but not from the Attorney General's office itself. I received correspondence from counsel for the Friendship Fire Company. The law firm is Barley Snyder. And I have not been able to verify these things, but I was told that the AG's office has closed their investigation with no formal action. I was also told that the man responsible for the theft has been removed and is no longer affiliated with the association. And I was told that there is video of the alleged racist incident, which apparently proves that it was not racist in nature. So again, I have not been able to verify any of those statements. And again, the source of that information is counsel that represents the Friendship Fire Company.
And when did you receive that correspondence or that notification?
I believe it was yesterday or the day before. I had the conversation yesterday afternoon.
Okay, so that would have been December
10th.
December 10th.
And just to be clear, that was from counsel representing one side.
Counsel for the Friendship Fire Company, correct?
Okay.
If I can, I just have, if I can, two more quick statements. First of all, I want to thank Beth Hicks, who did not have to talk about her experience, and I know that should never have to occur. And I want to thank her for her courage for doing that today, and assure you that I've got great respect for you, your work, and all of the things that you do to better make this county. And your input means a lot to me. And I also want to make it clear that I don't believe that this issue, quite frankly, should be in front of the Board of Elections. The idea that this is not really an election related matter with any complaints, concerns, or issues that have been arisen as a result of the election or the election process or election employees or anything that's surrounding the election. And my challenge with the decision in this case, and I'll be frank with you, is that we have had over the past, since I've been here 20 years, polling locations in multiple denominations of churches. There have been mosques and temples. There have been, and I've always viewed it as renting the facility in Hull for $75. I've not talked about taking up the cause or defending actions. I believe they are up to these individual organizations to be able to support and defend. And those issues are not related to how we are looking for convenient locations that are usually within the polling locations that are walkable, accessible, and meet now these ominous and difficult standards from the Department of Justice that I don't think any building structure envelope was considered in what they're requiring us to do based upon how much money locally we have to spend to do it. I think we run the danger, if we are going to do this and make a change, of having made allegations in the future for a various amounts of reasons. I'm not going to pit one group versus another, but there's a lot of folks who could come in here and make a claim about this group or that group or another group or this group. And quite frankly, it's not us it's up to us, because I've got no investigatory report in front of me. I've got no measure of taking a look at what actually has occurred. I've heard from a lot of folks around this, but I don't have anything from the Attorney General. I've talked to the investigatory panel that was placed together by SWADARA related to the investigation of the individual volunteer fire departments. And I talked to the poll workers and the judges of elections and the people that are in the polls. And I know that from at least the feedback I've gotten has been, I've not had people tell me from the actual residents over there that they want to see this polling location change. But I also am sensitive to the idea of, the things that this represents. I will tell you, I'm clear in this. I've never been a member of the Instill. There's a number of social clubs that have had challenges over the years. I'm not a member of those clubs. I do not stand for and will not be somebody who participates in issues and folks that don't allow everybody to be a participant and be open and welcoming. If that doesn't happen, I'm not going to be a part. So I have established a clear track record that this is not acceptable, period. And if those practices exist, my message is, get into the right era or you have an enemy in me. It's long overdue, and it should never, ever exist that you don't let all people, whether it's women, whether it's minority groups, whether it's people that have sexual orientation, all those things should be allowed to be a participant, quite frankly. And when they're not, there are going to be concerns that are raised. The challenge, again, I'm having with this is not election related. This is not election related discussion. This is a political discussion that's going on in a township that has spilled onto us now in multiple ways about a fire hall that's being rented for $75 that has been used for 100 years. So from my perspective, it's anytime I smell politics, it's usually not about fixing something or a solution. It's usually about diverting and having a level of look over here. So from my perspective, I don't see any facts that support the investigation. I have heard everybody in this case. Quite frankly, I've taken the efforts to talk to the people that live in the district. And while I've received correspondence as well, I've not gotten any from people who vote in that district that have been oppositional. I've received oppositional emails, but they have been from outside groups. They've not been from the residents that are within that district. So again, from my perspective, we've brought it up. I know it was a discussion I thought was already passed, and I thought it was critically important for us to not change things during a national election. But I am open I'm open to this idea of moving to schools. Just trust me. The idea of moving to schools, the only question I have, and I'm going to state it publicly, if we're doing it, we're not doing it as a one-off because this is changing. We are doing it as a practice from the election board that's moving into a directive location. And if that's the will of the board, I am supportive of moving to the school. If it's going to be as a result of allegations and things that have nothing to do with elections, I'm not prepared to make a change. And I will tell you, that is my position, and that will continue to be my position because the idea of this being an issue from a county's perspective, I think we should be moving to our schools. And to give me the comprehensive plan to be able to meet the Department of State recommendations, and you will have my support. Any other comments?
It's my understanding that that's not what's before us today, an ordinance or a commitment to moving all polling locations to schools. You could certainly make that motion. I'm here to address this particular move, and I mean, I think it's politics is how we organize. It's the decisions we make. It's what we choose to accept as a society. And I think there's a lot of people in Dauphin County Prison right now that have been alleged of a crime and are suffering the consequences of that allegation. Were this allegation to be unfounded, the consequences could be removed. That's how our justice system works, and I don't see any problem with us here on this dais enacting that same system here.
Commissioner Breeze. All right, on the matter in front of us, the Friendship Engine, the current location of polling, Friendship Engine House, to be proposed to change to Tri-County Elementary School. Is there a motion to make that change?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any discussion? And my only discussion would be, again, if this is a school move, I'd like to, and if it's the direction of the board, can we have existing conversations about, or future conversations about making those polling places where advisable changes to the schools?
I'm going to follow up on what you just said. And actually, I have always been a fervent supporter of utilizing our schools where and when we're able. And hearing that you are in favor of that and that schools are listed as a preferential location, a preferred location, my decision's been made.
So that's a commitment to move forward in that direction. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next item is the directors and guests.
Public participation.
Public participation.
Before you leave, just before we go into public participation, I just want to emphasize that we put together in this past election ballot curing measures. Spackman, thank you for your work on that.
My pleasure.
And part of that work meant that we were going to proactively contact mail-in ballot voters who got it wrong, who maybe didn't have a signature, didn't have a date, had an incorrect date, or had no secrecy envelope. Correct. And I just want to emphasize the work of your office, because that was in the midst of an incredibly challenging high turnout election, highest turnout ever in Dauphin County election, right? To have to create a system with a lot of short notice to create a system and structure to contact those voters. And based on what I'm looking at with the stats in front of me, we had 363 voters cure their ballot by mail. And I just want to emphasize that that's 363 people that were that not to have gone into effect would very likely not have had their vote counted. And I just think it's really important that we emphasize the work of your office and the work of this board to ensure that every vote counts. That is our commitment to the residents of Dauphin County, that we try to make our voting fair, accessible, and ultimately the ability of your office to contact them back to let them know that they made a mistake and they get the opportunity to make do and make that right. Just thankful for your leadership in that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I want to take a moment and thank both of my colleagues for that hearing that we had involving the past election and that topic. I'm a big fan of someday reaching 100% voter turnout. Nowhere near that. We get 25-30% turnout for the primaries, 76%, I think you said, for the presidential. That still means that a quarter of the population didn't vote. But my colleagues, no matter where they were on the curing or what should be or shouldn't be allowed, we at the end of the day voted to support the letter of the law. And that's what we did. And we saw that certain other counties in the Commonwealth chose not to do so. But I want to thank both my colleagues. This wasn't a Democrat or Republican thing. This was a letter of the law issue, and we followed that 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
No worries. All right, public comment.
Thank you again. Tom Connolly, 345 North Harrisburg Street. Two things. Number one, thank you. Enough words were said. And number two, and Commissioner Hartwick, I don't always agree with you, but I agree with you on this. Beth should not have had to come forward. The names in there are confidential because it's a touchy subject, and she should not have had to come forward. And she is a hero.
Agreed. Good lady. Any other public comment?
Joanne Siebert, 799 High Street, Bressler. Of course, you know, my opinion of your vote was unfounded. Probably under pressure. This move will affect also Chambers Hill because Chambers Hill uses their fire station. They use schools and fire stations. Why you want to use schools and interrupt the children's work day or study day, I don't know. Tri-community is going to be very, very difficult as far as the photography of that, as far as parking and older people accessing it. You've made your comment, you've made your decision. We'll have to live with it. But also, I don't understand why we've got media here over a little fire company being removed from a voting place. But then that's Commissioner Connolly's move. Take it to the press, put it out there just to destroy the reputation of Bressler. I will resent that till the day I die. And it's not fair. And what you did was just put another knife in the heart of Bressler.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Michael Tucky, 5875 Gensmer Lane. All I'd like to ask is this board seriously look at the actual locations where people are voting. I understand the directive of where you may want to go with this, but just because it's a school does not mean that's the best place for the residents to vote at. We had this discussion, I believe about 2 years ago, about Chambers Hill Fire Company. There was a proposal to move it to Chambers Hill Elementary because of sloping of the parking lot. That's what was said. At that time, we proved Chambers Hill Elementary was actually not the best suited area. If you're looking at the conditions of the property, the condition's great. They take care of the school well. It's not that. But the actual parking lot itself is more of a slope than what it was at the fire company. The other thing is where the handicap accessible parking is. It was Chambers Hill Elementary, from memory, it was 80 to 120 foot away from the entrance. And that's not figuring where they would put it throughout the school. It might be, 40, 50 feet from the entrance, or it might be 150 feet from the entrance, who knows? But just the entranceway alone is a lot more difficult for people that have disabilities. Over at Chambers Hill Fire Company, they have fixed the parking lot with the sloping issue. And the entranceway there's 3 handicap spaces right there along the side of the building. And from the entranceway to get into the building, first parking lot is about 6 foot away. And the furthest one is maybe 20 foot away at the most, from memory. So I would just request respectfully that everyone seriously looks before you just make a decision, just go into all schools. If that's the possibility of it happening, please look into actually the different locations, where it's located, and how it truly is set up. And if it's easier for the residents that have disabilities or harder. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good. My name and everything again.
Please. for the record.
Deborah Knowles, 6080 Hocker Drive, Harrisburg, PA, 17111. I just have a quick comment or so. I understand your vote and I respect that. I don't understand. Tom Connolly said it shouldn't have been brought to you guys. Then why did he bring it to you guys? That's all I have to say.
Any other comments? Public comments?
Zoe Loftus, 5631 Plainview Drive.
What's your name again, ma'am?
Zoe
Zoloftus.
Loftus, 5631 Plainview Drive. I appreciate your service and the way you did put some deliberation into it. But the decision to close this one location, fire hall location, to move over to a school is just one more rung in the ladder to the grandiose scheme of things. Unfortunately, you're put in this political position where even the township a couple of meetings ago admitted that they're going to build a big administration center, and with it that includes like a Taj Mahal kind of fire company department. So the long-term goal is actually to close all of our little local fire companies. That's what it is. I'm sorry that you were put in this position to basically, start transforming Swatara Township into a mostly rental community is how this will end up going when you raise your taxes and things like that. But I hope going forward when this decision comes up again, because now it is going to come up again, that you look at how that operation does serve the local community surrounding it. If it's a little fire hall like Chambers Hill, or there's more to it, unfortunately, than just whatever the state says is a good idea this year. Then the next administration will say, no, let's go back to the fire hall concept. So, yeah, there's much more at play here, and you're well aware of it. And I do want to thank you, but going forward, I would appreciate it too if you would take into consideration those people who are currently being served by local fire companies, and, before you make decisions such as this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Commissioner President.
Sure. Yeah. I want to thank two of the last three commenters brought up the Chambers Hill Fire Hall. That was publicly vetted in the past when we looked at that location versus a school, and I supported keeping it, and I will in the future. But I am open to looking at individual locations on a basis by basis, location by location process to make determinations in the future. But Chambers Hill Fire Company has already been vetted, in my opinion, as one board member.
Any other comments by board members? Okay, we will adjourn Take a motion to adjourn the election board meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Douglas, second by Commissioner Prees. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, going back into the regular legislative meeting, we'll start with directors and guests. Ms. Tanisha Whedon. Good morning.
I'd like to request a vote on salary board item A 1 through 7.
Do we have a motion for
So
salary?
moved.
Moved by Commissioner Douglas. Do we have a
Second.
Second by Commissioner Prees. Any discussion? All those in favor
Well,
indicate.
Do these all fall within the budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
Questions? Controller?
That was my question. I didn't know if this was part of the 2025 budget process or if it was,
It is.
thank you.
Sorry, excuse me. This is part of the 2025 budget process?
This is a part of what we will have to cover in the 2025 budget, correct?
Is there a reason it's changing now as opposed to in 2025?
The courts have made the request and having that timing occur. I think the additional effective dates will be happening and they were able to cover for this current year within their existing budget. But for next year, it would have to be budgeted. So there will need to be no adjustments to the budget to cover this for this current year. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. The personnel packet, Tanisha.
Yes, items 1 through 18, 21 through 27, and 35 through 79.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Prees. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Douglas. Any discussion? All those in favor, and we'll let the record reflect that's items 1 through 18, 21 through 27, and 35 through 79. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Thank you, Tanisha.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
One. I have no changes to the investment report that was sent out yesterday. There are also no changes to the purchase order packet that was distributed. That is ready for your vote and approval.
So just on the rates, these reflect sort of the trending rates in the wrong direction.
Correct.
Are there, again, are you going to put in front of us any options for short-term investment CDs here in the near future?
I'm working with 3+1. We're going to get a rate quote out for 3, 6, 9, maybe even a year, depending on how quick we could get that turned around.
Okay.
See what we can do through the end of 25.
So we'll expect to see that early in January.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Davis? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adopt the purchase order packet as presented.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you. We also had 2 bids we're looking for the board to award. We had our office supply bid and our bid for the MDJ and probation cleaning services. We are recommending the board award them to the office supply to WB Mason, who was the lowest responsible bidder. We received 2 bids on that. And we're recommending to award the MDJ cleaning and adult probation cleaning bid to DSC, who was also the lowest responsible bidder there.
I'll motion for both of those.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Chief Clerk's report, Mr. Pease.
Commissioners, I have nothing to report unless there are questions of me.
Any questions of Mr. Pease? Mr. Owens.
Matters requiring board action have been reviewed and approved for action by the Solicitor's Office.
Any questions for Mr. Owens? All right, matters requiring board action. Are there any items that need to be pulled out and or voted separately?
For me, 1, 10, and 29.
Commissioner Freeze, any that need to be pulled out and or voted on separately? Okay. Could I have a motion for items 10 through 9? I'm sorry, 2 through 9, 11 through 28, and 30?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Commissioner Douglas.
Just on item 1, my question on this is, does this include the free downtown parking commitment that we make annually?
So I do believe it does. I also have Jay Wanger here for any further questions if you wanted to invite him up. But I do understand that that is at least involved in or included in the revenues.
Yeah,
that
I'd
are
like to
reported.
ask some questions if that's okay. Thanks, Jay,
Morning,
for being
Commissioner.
here. Appreciate it. So does this include our commitment to the free downtown parking that we provide, I think, from 5 to 7 or something to that extent?
The budget as proposed does include all parties' contribution to the 5 to 7 parking initiative. Yes.
Okay. And how much is our responsibility for that? What's the total? It's in the hundreds of thousands. Correct?
100 and
If it hasn't changed, this year was $146,300.
146,000. And the purpose, just so I understand of that, is to encourage people to come downtown to benefit the businesses.
that's correct.
Is anyone measuring the success of that?
We had asked a long time ago. They told us it was very hard to document. So
Yeah.
the short answer is no.
Well, I work past 430 a lot and I walk downtown and I see city cars parked in parking spots. I don't see it benefiting the businesses. It's gaming money, I believe, that covers that cost. Am I accurate on that?
What's the derivative of the revenue?
That we
It's
have
gaming,
have
correct?
used that in the past.
So,
yes.
so I guess,
Tourism money has once been used.
okay, or tourism. Okay. But I guess what I'm saying is that money, I believe, could be better utilized for creating, what would that be? 14 plus grants that could go to restaurants that are dealing with the challenges of less people being downtown, as opposed to free parking. I just don't have any measurement to know whether or not this program's working. I'm in favor of everything else except that piece in this particular proposal.
Is this proposal for 2025?
Yes.
In front of us? Okay, because didn't we just vote on 2024 in the last month?
Yes.
Voted on direct.
That was a restate. That was this past year's just voting to get the gaming grant. You guys need to vote on the expenditure of the gaming. That was the recent one.
I wholeheartedly concur with Commissioner Douglas on what's occurring during that 5 to 7 period. I initially supported this year after year and was told by the businesses, as we did hear from the businesses, that this was benefiting them, but I haven't heard anything in the last 2 years at least. So I was under the assumption that was continuing to be a beneficiary for the businesses. However, I would like to take this one step further and formally request of Governor Shapiro and the administration to have our employees come back to work 5 days a week. They're downtown 2, maybe 3 days a week. The businesses have been impacted by this. I understand why it was done during COVID, but we're way past that now, and the businesses are suffering Monday through Friday, and nobody's doing anything about it. He was appreciate his foresight, having some of them come back a couple days a week, but it's time now for individuals to come back to work, park downtown, come to our businesses and our restaurants for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And just to be clear, the question was, is it documented that it's been successful? The answer to that is no. The restaurateurs might tell you it is. I'm not telling you it's not been successful. We just don't have documentation.
And I guess my other question is, if we were to pass this, subtracting this commitment, we could certainly apply the commitment at any time during the year. If we were to get contact from restaurant, owners letting us know that they're in favor of this, we would be able to apply these funds if we were to. Correct. I mean, or is this is the last chance to make this decision?
Okay, you can explain, but I think we're only approving or sort of acknowledging the budget, not creating budget.
Yes.
So
that's correct. You do not create the budget by the terms of the indenture, with county being a guarantor / creditor. You and AGM have consent rights to the operating and capital budgets. So every year, you and AGM as creditors are asked to approve the budget. It has been the county's position that you don't create the budget, you'll accept the budget as presented. If you reject the budget, the default is it reverts back to last year's budget. So they would still have the same revenue in there. Whether or not they would come back and amend their budget in the next 2 weeks, I don't know. I suspect they would, but we would have to ask.
So this is part of the budget,
It's part of the parking budget for 2025. So
a commitment for us to cover free parking from 5 to 7.
yeah. So what I don't know is if you said no, if the other parties would reject it also. So I think that would be a significant change to the revenues of the system if everybody said we're done.
My follow-up question to that would be, what's the timing for our required adoption? Because it's clear that the board has a challenge with this. We don't want to adopt it with that in it. What are our legal requirements in order to, I want to get accept the budget, because I know there's language issues with the acceptance of this budget.
Per the terms of the indenture, you have until the end of your year, which coincides with the parking authority's fiscal year, December 31st, to accept or reject both the operating and capital budgets.
Do we have to do this today? Could we table it to the next?
We could table it until next week.
I'd like to get a little more information based upon what Commissioner Douglas brought up, Commissioner Hartwick brought up, and
I'm in favor of
Again, your
tabling.
deadline is December 31st, so you do have another.
We only have one more meeting left.
The
yeah.
tabling
Right,
motion.
so if you miss that meeting, then it would require a special meeting to comply with the terms of the indenture.
I'll make a motion that we
The
table.
motion's already been made. Table would supersede any other motion. Is there a second?
I think I quickly made a motion.
Yeah, you just didn't hear it.
Sorry.
Oh,
You can go ahead and make the motion if you want.
So it's like,
There would be a friendly amendment.
But I guess my only question is, in the meantime, what we need to do is determine the other parties, or I guess I'm unclear of what is going to happen in the next 7 days prior to next meeting that's going to potentially yield more information, or what do you need from us or our staff? That's what I guess I just want to make sure is clear.
So, George, you've been here as long as I have on this matter, so correct me if I misstated, but the request for the 5 to 7 contribution by the county and the city and the
Downtown improvement
the
district.
did it really came from the restaurateurs. So I think it's a policy decision on your part. So whatever information you need to collect between now and the time you actually make this decision, that's your call.
I think it's safe to say, and I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but they should operate under the instance that we're looking at alternative ways to support downtown businesses other than just subsidizing parking right now that doesn't appear to be a need for.
Again, it's policy, so
I mean, if that's where we're at, I mean, instead of back and forth and missing our deadline, if that's the piece that we want out from our perspective, we have the ability to make that recommendation through Jay.
I guess, I mean, me as one commissioner, I mean, I've been downtown and I've seen the vehicles with the Harrisburg City logo on the side parking in those spots between 5 and 7. So I would think that if we want people to come there and park free, to come and utilize our businesses and spend money, we would want folks from outside city government or those vehicles to just be parking there after hours.
I concur.
That's the will of the board, Jay. I think, if I'm hearing everybody correctly, and please adjust it if I'm wrong, I would tell them that we accept the budget with the exception of us contributing towards the downtown parking fee.
Okay.
Well,
I can't answer as to whether or not that's okay with them, so we'll respond.
I just want to clarify that statement. We're tabling the item, but you're saying
In
there
theory,
seems to
in
be, yeah,
theory,
in theory, there's
we are not.
support. I got you.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So
Any-
there's been a motion made and seconded to table. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. I think you got direction.
Thank you.
All right. Item 10.
Was this bid out?
No.
Okay.
I've got a tax assessment here that you can ask
Yeah.
questions to Greg Gaylor. if
Greg,
want.
would you like to
Yep.
share a little bit about this for me?
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So the position is a very intricate position. It's a system analyst. The position entails work with a lot of the different things in tax claim that we do. Also with tax assessment, with the treasurer's office, with tax collectors. It's a very specialized knowledge base that's required. So the person that's been doing it for the last few years has been having health issues,
Okay.
could not commit beyond a few months. So when I looked at this, I thought, well, we can we can have a new person come in and train underneath Randy. Or we could maybe set something up where we have a purchase order and we could bill against it. It's not saying we're paying out $40,000. It's just that I would like to have some type of budget in place. So, but it's a very critical position. The county with the school districts, the county and the municipalities, with the school billing and all the things that are done through this position, we bring in well over $500 million of revenue. So if this whole position is disrupted, I just feel that to bring a new person in without having that knowledge base would be setting them up for failure. So it's a very critical position.
So Randy is a former employee, correct?
He's
Current
still a
employee.
current employee. There is some overlap now that intensive training is going on, but I did print out.
So hold on, just to make sure I understand correctly, we have a current employee that's receiving a salary for a job, and they're also going to have a contract on top of that. Is that what's happening? Or they're going to be cycling out as a, okay, that's
January, yes.
I'm in favor. I'll make a motion to approve number 10. That's the one thing I just wanted to make sure it was clear. Okay.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Thanks,
Any
Greg.
opposed?
Appreciate
Same
it.
sign. And then the final one, 29.
I've already made this clear in previous meetings. I'm a standing no as long as CNR oversees the process. I want to make it clear I have nothing against the entities receiving these monies. I'm just a standing no as long as CNR oversees the process, given what's been revealed about their widespread contracts throughout the county and the nature of them.
And I'm going to again ask, following up on that Second Street meeting, I'm going to again ask our solicitors, is full legal review and approved by the solicitor's office?
Yes, as you know, I don't delve into the details of where payments are going or anything like that. That's not under my purview, but from a legal standpoint, yes, we've reviewed all of the opioid contracts.
Thank you.
If I could, point of order and just trying to provide some clarification. The first one is that Bethany Children's Services, I think, is the only service that we have is this Bethany Christian Services of Pennsylvania related to the opioid remediation use. It's the only mother-daughter and opportunity for addiction services for families related
I
to
think
that.
they're great.
And second thing is that I heard this board and was actually in agreement loud and clear in wanting to change processes, and having the ability for us to move forward and meet timelines is something that is really, really important. So we have to make some decisions. I had Randy reach out to both commissioners to talk about options that would exist to be able to proceed from an opioid perspective. And if I could, the current contract, I'll talk about the RFP can be formulated for these services, or we have additional options, which would be to hire a program specialist, or you have a current contract option that we can RFP out that would be providing support. And I want to give you sort of the parameters of both, but here's the challenge. We're the first in trying to get opioid dollars out on the street. And I think we are now in a position to be pressing timelines in order to not get the money out in a timely fashion, which we also need to figure out. So I'm going to need some direction from the board on this related to how we need to proceed. So the first one is the current contract with McNeese is 100% funded with opioid remediation grants, 0 county dollars. There is a $5,000 a month flat fee, which seems to be the magic number, $60,000 a year, approved by the trust as Exhibit A approved use of funds. So these are all covered by opioid monies. There's no maximum since this is a county administration cost. If we would select the option of bringing in a full-time employee to do it, only 15% of those employees' salaries could be funded by the opioid remediation grant. There's a maximum of 3% of that grant can be spent on administrative costs. So about 13,000 in payment one, 23,000 in payment two, 23,000 in payment three. The idea of how much we would need to be covered for that individual employee would be significantly higher, and it would be either we could do it one of two ways: either figure out a way to charge it back towards other human service agencies and a collection of Dauphin County general funds, but we are not entitled for reimbursement from the opioid dollars in that case. So the direction would be either we put out an RFP for a provider that can help support the county and being able to move these forward, or figuring out a way to bring in a new employee, but we still have the timeliness of how do we get the processing done that should have started in November, done in order to meet the timelines of the opioid trust.
Did we RFP it the first time?
We did not.
Why did we choose CNR and Musser?
Again, I can't speculate as to that, but I will tell you that this is a new board and a new opportunity to be able to talk about how we move forward with these contracts.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm just
want to look forward. Yeah.
I'm just going to say, we got to clean things up. Like we got to disconnect from these before we start trying to say like we're riddled with a plan that's before us before we can get out. I mean, excuse the analogy, but you flush the turds before you clean the toilet bowl. Like, this is getting incredibly frustrating to see how long it takes to make change. If you really want me to vote for this, then let's start making motions to cancel contracts and we'll figure it out. And if we want to act like we have to have the entire roadmap laid out before us before we cancel contracts, I'm just going to keep saying I'm not in favor. I have nothing against Bethany Christian Services. I'm confident the work they're doing is essential and necessary, and I want them to get this funding. What I don't want is that opioid funding being taxed by someone who has 10 plus other contracts in this county. And this is not one that is held by an authority that operates independently. It's held by this board. This board chose not to RFP it, just like the RDA chose not to RFP, just like the Land Bank chose not to RFP, just like the IDA chose not to RFP, just like the EDC chose not to RFP, just like the VHHH chose not to RFP, just like who knows who else chose not to RFP. And it begins to look like a conspiracy. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, blowing whistles, clearly. It's getting incredibly frustrating to just see we have to fix this because there might be an interruption in service. When I'm saying the interruption is that we have someone taxing a system of opioid money that people literally died for and getting access to that money in a way that is, I think, nefarious because it did not go through an RFP process. Someone could have maybe provided these same services for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, but we would never know because we never put it out to bid. And so we can keep talking about it's a new board. I'm tired of being the one making motions for change. You two can both create a motion to cancel this contract
and
cancel it.
Just for clarification, this contract was one that was approved in the 23-24 cycle. We actually had taken this particular contract in front of the Opioid Trust Board. There was multiple folks that argued the validity of the contract. They tried to cancel this one. And Randy and I made a successful case in this being a specialized service. So this is not a new contract. This is one that's already went through a process, has now been formally approved by the Opioid Trust. It's affecting women and children. And it's from the 23-24 year that, again, it's been cleared by multiple levels.
When does it end?
Or
is it an auto renew?
No, this particular contract is a straight amount. So they will not, unless they reapply for new opioid trust monies, they will not get anything more than the $10,361.
No. I'm talking about the individual, the entity getting the consulting agreement. That is an auto renew contract from what I remember, like every one of them are, that will never come into deliberation unless someone actively brings it into deliberation. And here, it's why we have longstanding agreements with people for 2 decades, because we set them on auto renew contracts where we never have to reaffirm that their services are actually providing what they say they're providing. It's, again, not the way any business would operate.
And I don't want to get into too deep, but I remember 2 weeks ago when we had this conversation, knowing the timeline, saying, let's explore other options. And it's my job to really present options to, especially in the areas of oversight I'm responsible for, to be able to move the ball.
Mhm.
And I actually did it within like 10 minutes of our discussion. I said, I want to have Randy reach out to both of you related to, what the options would be. And the challenge is, I understand the points you were making and the valid points we were making, but we still have people that need our help. And that, these ideas of cleaning them up are things that we are committed to doing. But in the term of that, we should not be having mothers who are struggling with these issues be challenged. I mean, and we need to agree on a process. I was willing to move forward immediately and say, let's cancel the contract. Let's put out a new ability for us to hire someone. I've got no issues with that. I'm zero. But the challenge is not having a pathway forward and just canceling contracts with these timelines that exist. I'd like to know what the plan is.
I'm not going to cancel a contract with my hands tied behind my back about it. In theory, new employee that we need to run a program that could potentially be ran by a consultant through an RFP process, or a current employee could potentially run if with 15% of their job, given that 15% of it can be funded by opioid money. I think we need to have a look at the amount of opioid costs. I mean, we've got people we're paying a good amount of consulting money to that see 8 things through in a year, literally 8 things through, and you're getting a retainer of $5,000 a month. Like that, this is where I want to know the need, and I think we need to explore that. But in the meantime, we have an individual that is behind directing these monies, approving these monies, administering these monies.
Board directs how
The board can direct, but they are influenced by the consultant. And the point I'm trying to make is, this particular consultant, I don't even have to reiterate all the ways in which this is a problematic relationship. And again, this one sits before us. So if someone wants to cancel that contract, that's fine. We don't even need to have this conversation. I'm just a standing no on opioid money that's being consulted by this particular consultant. Again, I'm in favor of this entity getting this money. I am not in favor of the process that is taken place, that is led to this, especially given that there wasn't an RFP process. And for this particular person, there never is.
And again, I'm going to be responsible to try to create a process. I also don't want to be hand tied by not knowing what the solution is with the deadlines that we want to meet. So that takes the ability to sit down and talk about what the expectations of the board are and how we want to proceed. And again, canceling the contract can occur in parallel paths, but not having a plan is my concern, and having deadlines to meet is really, I know that it's constant. I understand it's always coming up, but there are hundreds of programs that are being run throughout county government that are required of us to meet these deadlines. And they're not just 1 or 2. There are literally much compliance work that needs to be done. And this, from the timing, we've got to have the board make a decision. So I'd entertain a motion for the agreement between Dauphin County Human Services and Bethany Christian Services of Central Pennsylvania, item number 29, to be motion to move. Commissioner Breeze.
Is there a timeline on this necessary approval?
I'd have to look. Again, this was something that was a 1.5 years ago grant that was initially denied because, and I can give you some of the details of this. This was initially denied because there was not, we talked about covering a number of substance abuse issues, not just opioid issues. And they were concerned that it was not just an opioid response, but we wanted to include and make sure that folks who were eligible just weren't substance use disorder folks that had only opioid concerns. People come in with a myriad of concerns. We wanted to ensure that all of those were eligible for their ability to receive treatment. That was the reason for the disqualification. We went in front of the Opioid Trust Board, and I think there were 7 other appeals. We were the only ones that were actually fortunate enough to be granted, and that's the result of this particular contract and its lengthy history.
So moved.
I'll second. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. The ayes have it. Thank you. Former business. New business.
I have new business. In light of today's Penn Live coverage revealing a previously undisclosed business relationship with Greenie Partners founder Stan Rapp and former Commissioner Jeff Haste, along with the potential undue influence this relationship may have exerted on county affairs, it is clear that another significant conflict of interest has come to light. I would like to motion that we exercise the 30-day termination clause in our contract with Greenie Partners. I would also remind the board that we have already initiated the RFP process and have received 3 bids thus far.
Can I ask the chief of staff how many bids we officially received? 3?
Commissioner Douglas was correct. So far, I've received, before the meeting, I had received 3 so far.
Are we allowed to publicly state who they're from?
It's still open. It concludes on the 15th.
Okay,
So I
that was
will
my
then,
next question.
yeah, the plan was to then share it with the board.
Okay,
once
so we are
received all 3.
publicly RFPing governmental affairs services for the first time in 20 years. This was a professional contract that I've been told year after year, you do not have to bid on if you're satisfied with the services. And now this board unanimously in the past several months has agreed to RFP these and other services moving forward. I'm fully in support of that. And I look forward to seeing how many different organizations come forth to compete for our business the first time in 20 years.
And again, I would ask the solicitor, can you make that motion without the appropriate advertisement? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Douglas, but you made a motion to operate and terminate 30.
I made a motion to activate the 30-day termination clause of our contract with Greenie Partners.
Would that need to be legally advertised to consider?
Yes.
That'd certainly be on next week's agenda.
The 18th.
Do I need to amend my motion for it to be placed on the agenda?
We'll place it on the
Okay.
agenda. All right. Any other new business?
Are we just placing it or does it need a second to be placed?
No, we'll place it. I think we'll make sure it's
Okay.
included in the next week's agenda. Commissioners' discussions and actions.
I remain dedicated to exposing troubling conflicts, particularly those involving the use of public funds. One example involves the Dauphin County Industrial Development Authority, or the IDA, which oversees gaming grant process. Dauphin County gaming grants are funded by casino revenue. They're designed to support a wide range of projects and programs throughout the county. These include critical initiatives such as emergency services, affordable housing, food banks, shelter resources, and other meaningful causes, or at least that's how it's supposed to work. In 2008, the IDA hired Community Networking Resources, CNR, led by Michael Musser, to administer this program. Since then, CNR and Musser have earned nearly $1 million from a contract that auto-renews every year. Another entity, the Dauphin County Redevelopment Authority, or RDA, is funded almost entirely by gaming grants, except for a few narrowly targeted EPA grants. This means that any consultant working for the RDA is being paid with gaming grant funds. As I've previously mentioned in an earlier commissioner meeting, CNR and Musser also hold a contract with the RDA for consulting on the state hospital grounds project. Despite the project being a lost cause for years, this contract remains active to this day. What's particularly concerning is this new connection. The individual responsible for administering gaming grant funds has profited from those same funds through a consulting contract with the RDA. This raises serious concerns about the ethical use of public resources and the transparency of these agreements. Let me illustrate with a visual, as I like to do. Community Networking Resources, led by Musser, administers gaming grant funds, a long-standing agreement between CNR and the IDA. At the same time, CNR, led by Musser, takes gaming grant funds for consulting on the state hospital grounds project, which to date has paid $186,000. The pieces are really starting to come together. The connections are troubling. The picture, the image it creates that emerges of how public money has been handled in Dauphin County. Taxpayers should be outraged that their elected officials were asleep at the wheel during this heist. Basic accountability measures were and continue to be non-existent. Was there a competitive selection process for CNR led by Musser to secure the contract for the RDA, resulting in $186,000 of gaming funds being paid out? Well, I asked, and there was not. There was no RFP. It looks to me like a predetermined arrangement. Has the RDA ever been denied a gaming grant application, I ask? No, they've never been denied a gaming grant application. This creates a convenient opportunity to expand one's portfolio, secure in the knowledge that a grant is highly unlikely to be denied. Even more convenient when you literally administer and influence the process of the gaming money. CNR's contract with the RDA was renewed on March 9th, 2023. Again, this is long after the state hospital grounds were off the table, yet the RDA needed a consultant for this. Needed. What member of the RDA made that motion to approve this? Former Commissioner Jeff Haste. This situation reveals a glaring conflict. The same entity influencing one pool of money is profiting from it somewhere else. It's like pitching and catching at the same time with a trusted buddy serving as the umpire. This kind of setup blatantly stacks the deck against the people of this county. The hardworking people of Dauphin County deserve better. Consider the emergency services, who we honored here last week, that provide crisis response for the needs of the county, and what they could do with an extra $186,000. Consider the nonprofits that applied for gaming grants only to be denied or awarded just a fraction of what they needed. Imagine the positive impact $186,000 could have on our community, on the people who truly need them. I, for one, am continually appalled by what has transpired in this county under these numerous consulting agreements. It feels like every week I uncover yet another agreement riddled with glaring conflicts of interest. Sooner or later, there must be accountability and consequences for those who have exploited the county. Until that day comes, I'll continue putting the pieces together and displaying them for the public to see and judge for themselves. Thank you. Comments?
We have correspondence that I will not forget. And I would also ask the solicitor, the redevelopment authority, do we have those board appointments? And understanding, if you can explain quickly the operation of the RDA as it relates to, the interference of an independent authority and county elected officials.
So we have a meeting scheduled regarding that tomorrow.
Yep.
So I would ask for some time and then we will do that in an executive session.
Appreciate that. Those are all valid questions that we will be following up with and have. All right, public participation.
Good Good morning, commissioners. Again. Pamela Parson, City of Harrisburg. Dauphin County has an addiction problem. An addiction is a chronic condition that involves compulsive seeking and taking of a substance despite negative or harmful consequences. I would suggest that the compulsive seeking of the substance is money and access to power, and that happens despite negative or harmful consequences. This affects the health of our county. This affects the relationships that those elected officials and entities that are to serve the public. It affects their relationships because there's a lot of people out here who don't trust you or other county entities. And overall, addictions affect quality of life of both the person who is addicted and the people surrounding the person with the abuse disorder. And so the quality of life in our county is diminished by this addiction problem. And gambling and shopping are addictions, both of which involve money. I'm not suggesting that that is the problem with folks who are involved in this, but when you look at addiction, what the hallmarks of addiction are the inability to stop. It seems like the county has an inability to stop with the no-show, no-bid, auto-renew contracts. Increased tolerance. It seems like the tolerance for these contracts has increased. The intense focus on the substance or the activity. It seems like whenever there is a new pool of money, there is an intense focus on how can I get more of that money. There's a lack of control. And then when you take that away, or if that diminishes, there's a sense of withdrawal. Like, now what am I going to do to get my money? To get access to power, to get access to money. So clearly, when one looks at the pattern of addiction, this county government has an addiction problem. Sometimes addictions are related to genetic factors, to mental health factors, and environmental factors. And there is an environment in this county, and has been for decades, of pay to play, no bid, no show, show up whenever. And I will end by saying, when one looks at the 10 steps, there are, I won't name them all, but 2 that are important. One is you must admit that you are powerless in the face of this and must take steps. And the other is you must commit a searing moral inventory of everyone that you have wronged and attempt to make it right. Thank you.
Ona Swatter Township. I once again came to a meeting, and once again more things were exposed to us today of how business as usual has been done in this county for at least the last 20 years. I can say that I am very happy to have Justin Douglas up here exposing and showing us what's been going on at the county for a long time, because as someone who sits outside and pays attention and works to get funding for things that are good for people and just works for the community, it's always been confusing why money goes to the people it goes to and where it goes. People who don't really have any business or any knowledge about what they're doing, but yet are somehow have their hands in every single pot of money. And they are touted as experts, although they're really experts in nothing but siphoning money off of our public dollars that we work hard and pay for. So I just wanted to come up here to say thank you, Commissioner Douglas, for exposing what's been going on and being here a very short time, and knowing that when something looks like it's not right, that you have to call it out and you have to start asking questions. It's actually a shame that some of you have been up there so long and have not been able to have the backbone to stand up and say some of this is wrong and we actually can't do business as usual. We have to actually get to the business of the people. So thank you for that, Commissioner Douglas, and just keep up the good work. Yeah, thank you.
Morning, Tom Connolly, 345 North Harrisburg Street. We're at the point now where I think we need to identify the fourth or fifth commissioner, Haste, Musser, and we're probably gonna have to start reaching out to municipalities and vendors. And let us know the channels, how things flow through this building. Because I'm noticing in Swadera Township after a return this year, that if it is land development, zoning, planning, legal, now we're seeing bridges and roadway projects. The correspondence that should be going from a professional or an elected official in Swadera Township to a professional or elected official in this building in Dauphin County over and over again is being routed to Michael Musser, either at his one of many business addresses, a law firm called McNeese, and maybe even M. Musser 01, private email. So these are projects. This is funding. Who is in charge here? It is absolutely outrageous. Justin's been digging for a year, probably as a citizen. He's been digging longer. I've been an elected official for an 8-year stretch, and now I'm back in a 4-year term. And I don't get it. I just don't get it. We have 3 commissioners, we have department heads, we have solicitors, we have people here that get money to do a job. And it looks like every time there's a decision to be made, somebody runs it through a guy named Mike Musser. I haven't seen him up there. I'm requesting that he sit off to the side from now on, as long as you're funding him or anything he's related to. It'd be very easy right now. If he's connected to medical coverage, cut that contract. If he's getting money for grants, remove him from that. Whatever you have to do. If not, he needs to sit here and answer questions from the public. Go through your campaign finance reports and look at how much money you give him through the campaigns. Maybe not illegal, but he certainly has an incredible relationship. So sometimes it's monthly payments, sometimes it's massive amounts that go to PACs that he controls. And then you look at it, and one of your vendors happened to drop 5,000 right before he got cash. They dropped 30,000 and then he got paid. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bring him in. Make a higher seat if you have to, but let's figure this out, open it up to the public and let us know what's going on. Because every day when I go over, this is just Swadera Township, I'm seeing the other stuff and I appreciate what you're doing. And I understand you guys are trying to unscramble this, but there's a lot to it and you can do your part by eliminating it. If he's sitting on a board that he's been appointed to by this board, remove him now. Call him, have him come in here. If not, he needs to sit here and answer the questions. And you need to be clear to the municipalities and the citizens what powers he has, what money he controls. Show us his worth. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we need Mike Musser and we don't need commissioners and department heads. But it can't be both. We can't fund this. And then especially in a year when we're talking about a tax increase. Let's look at any contract he's related to and just assume that it's wrong, that his hand is in it, that former Commissioner Hayes' hand is in it. Get their hands out, work for the citizens and move forward. And if you can't do that, bring him in. If he's going to run the show, let him take some heat. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Matt Krupp, City of Harrisburg. This is impromptu. I was just, sitting through the meeting. And you guys tabled earlier, I think $147,000, which contributed to, assist in attracting people downtown for the 5 to 7 time period. you might be right. Maybe there is a better use for that money. I don't know if there's any benefit other than anecdotal evidence that's, presented by some of the restaurateurs. I live in downtown Harrisburg, and I always thought it was odd. So my point is, if you guys decide to renew that program, consider expanding the border of that to Forester Street. Downtown, downtown's borders. I have free
Just real
parking
quick before you finish, as someone who has got a ticket thinking it was during the free time
Right.
in the wrong spot,
So-
I hear you.
Yeah, so my point is downtown's borders go all the way to Forester Street, right? And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's consistent with like the downtown improvement district borders, but this program stops, the 5 to 7 free parking stops at State Street. So you excluded a lot of like really important businesses to the city, like Rubicon, Monjaqui, Suba, Roxy's, Aleco's. The PA State Museum has evening events. Elementary Coffee has evening events. Home 231. We lost Honeybee's Cafe, which I know you were a regular at. There's just a number of restaurants. There's a couple salons and stuff too that are just north in that one block area. So I would ask that if you guys do consider renew that program, consider expanding that border to include the one block north of State Street to Forester. That's it. Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, I discussed correspondence. And at this point, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Buddy, adjourn.